Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A Hobart mother of 4 has tonight shared her emotional struggle to find a home as Tasmania's housing crisis continues to drag on for another winter. She, like many others, is now facing the reality of homelessness, left not knowing where she'll live in just 2 weeks' time and pleading for help.
Nikki Russell is a mother of 4 young children. For the past few years, her and her family have lived in rental properties, in a shed, and now in a women's shelter.
I don't feel like I'm asking for much, just a stable accommodation, a roof over the head that for me and my children, that we won't have to move every year.
But in just 2 weeks, she says her housing options will run out, one of many Tasmanians facing homelessness.
Where are me and the kids going to go? Like, we've got nowhere to go, and and I'm worried about what will happen with the kids. Like, I'm a loving mother, I don't want anything to happen to them.
With the state budget due on Thursday, the government has announced funding will be brought forward to build more affordable homes, also committing to decreases in stamp duty and tax exemptions for properties transitioning to rentals.
$68 million in this next financial year will go into social and affordable housing. And we're bringing it forward into this year because this year is when we need those houses to be invested in on the ground.
This is money that's already been allocated, that's being brought forward to this year, but to date, the delivery of new homes has been appalling.
We see a business as usual approach in terms of the affordable housing strategy. It's a good strategy, but it's what we would be doing if there wasn't a crisis.
Labor says it's hoping for even more housing funding in the budget.
I have talked with families who are living on couches, who are living in shipping containers, who are living in sheds, who are struggling to keep a roof over their heads.
It's not good enough. I just feel like I'm not getting heard. Like, I've done everything that I possibly can.
Michelle WISBEY, 7 Tasmania News.
Labor's Craig Farrell has been elected as the new president of Tasmania's Legislative Council. The emotional Derwent representative took to the president's chair today, saying the appointment was a privilege and an honour. Mr Farrell was elected to the Upper House in 2011 after spending almost a decade on the Derwent Valley Council. He's replaced former President Jim Wilkinson following his retirement this year. Also in the House, new Nelson representative Meg Webb was sworn in after being elected to the seat earlier this month. The head of Chigwell's Neighbourhood House says the facility is crying out for more funding and is counting down until this week's budget. The organisation supports hundreds of people each week, but says it desperately needs more cash flow in order to fund vital programs.
Side by side, members of Chigwell's Community House today learning photography skills. This program, one of many run here daily at the centre, which is reliant on volunteer help. Weekly, around 800 people flow through these doors.
A lot of time people feel socially isolated in the community. Some people, especially that we meet with, might not leave their home or go anywhere.
I want to do something with a purpose, and so it suits me down to the ground.
Here the community garden acts as a lifeline. The volunteers and participants tend to the vegetables and one another if they need support.
There's fruit and vegetables that you can't afford, so it's cut down the grocery line.
I do it to occupy my time, also to get to know different people in the community.
The RACT recognising the community need today, providing a $700 donation.
And just to have tangible benefits to community groups and associations that don't necessarily have a lot of money to play with.
While this donation is welcomed, the House is crying out for more government funding, with other vital programs forced to end because of a lack of money.
It's really hard to not be able to support people to get basic requirements to live day to day.
The organisation received an extra $45,000 in last year's budget. It's hoped the same will happen this Thursday.
We'd be able to, for instance, operate our food access program, which we've had to shut down, and our youth programs.
That youth program was running for 20 years, supporting more than 15 people a week. But with no extra staff funding to manage it, it was put on the chopping block.
The ripple effect in the community can be young people behaving badly.
The government isn't showing its hand yet though, remaining tight-lipped until the budget is handed down this week. Louise HEDGER, 7 Tasmania News.
The Australian Defence Force is warning there will soon be simulated terrorist scenarios held around Hobart as part of a major training exercise. Local police will be taking part in the operation alongside ADF personnel, which is aimed to provide crews with realistic environments and scenarios. The activities include low-flying helicopters, blank ammunition and other pyrotechnics. Those around the Hobart area are advised the training is of no threat to the public, but noise may be generated. It's been her dream for years, and this week a young Tasmanian CrossFit athlete has returned home after competing on the global stage. Balancing a nursing career and a demanding training regime, Lucy Clark says it's added fuel to the fire to further improve.
Lucy Clark hits the gym after returning home from her biggest CrossFit challenge yet. She faced 80 of the world's best in Wollongong over the weekend.
It was really nerve-wracking being out on that stage, but just an amazing experience. It's something that I've been working towards for probably the last 3 years. I really had my eyes set on it and finally got there, which was awesome. I was stoked.
The 29-year-old represented the state alongside fellow athlete Mason Doherty in the Down Under CrossFit Championship. Placing 57 out of 80, Lucy says she couldn't have survived the gruelling competition without her friends and family.
I have an awesome support crew behind me that pulled my head into line when I needed it and gave me all the support that I really needed to push me through the weekend, and I just felt proud, like it's an amazing achievement.
A support crew including an old friend who cheered Lucy on from the sideline. Brendan Gianni has followed her journey since the beginning.
She got her own coach, she started doing like her own personal program, and she stuck with it and she achieved this from it. I was really happy for her. It was good to watch her. She's obviously aimed for it for a lot of years now.
The full-time nurse at the state's Northwest Regional Hospital manages to fit in 2.5 hours of training a day.
Kind of work, train, coach, eat, sleep, and then back to it. Sundays is the day of doing not much.
And she says her dedication will keep her moving forward.
For now, it's just back to training and working hard and working on those weaknesses to make them strengths and get better so I can get back out on that floor.
Ruby COMMANE, 7 Tasmania News.
More of the state's volunteers have been celebrated in Launceston today at the Council's annual Volunteer Recognition Awards. It's part of National Volunteer Week, with one local recognised for her efforts in the war on plastic pollution.
Hours of dedicated community work recognised today at Launceston's Town Hall.
Without volunteers in our community, we just wouldn't have the services, we wouldn't have the support, we wouldn't have the encouragement for one another that we have, so it's absolutely amazing the work that is done.
Categories including health, arts and the environment. One recipient, TRISH HAEUSLER, was awarded for her efforts in tackling plastic pollution in Tasmania.
It's wonderful to be recognised for the work that our group, Plastic Free Launceston, does. I think in the last 3 years that we've been operating, we've brought about a lot of change and a lot of awareness in the community.
The Waste Warrior founded the organisation after she noticed the amount of litter in the schoolyard when working as a teacher, and travels across the state to educate the community on living a plastic-free life.
Thinking, that's only going to be used once and thrown in the rubbish. You know, this is ridiculous. We need to start reducing this. It's crucial for Launceston because we are on the Tamar River. We know that 80% of plastics that end up in our ocean come from catchments, so therefore we've got an ability to hold them back.
And the conservationist sees a bright future ahead.
I am hoping that Launceston will start to lead the way, really, and this will become something that when people come and visit Tasmania, that they can go, this is a beautiful state, and also they're not contributing a lot of single-use plastic.
Ruby Commane, 7 Tasmania News.
Hundreds of high school students have put their minds to the test at the Northwest Science and Engineering Challenge at Marist College in Burnie. From vehicles on Mars to tapering towers, the competition is run by the University of Tasmania and the University of Newcastle to inspire the next generation.
Students need to study the enabling sciences in year 11 and 12 so that it opens up their pathways for university studies in the sciences. Because they're the jobs of the future and we need to get as many students qualified in these areas.
The competition will head to Launceston and Hobart in the next 2 weeks before the state final in June. Devils coach ADRIAN FLETCHER is talking up the positives after his side went down to ladder leaders, the Dandenong Stingrays, on Saturday. The team now sits 10th on the ladder after 8 rounds and will face another big test in Ballarat when the season resumes on June 1.
Playing a home ground curtain raiser before the North Melbourne-Sydney match, Tasmania nearly pulled off the upset. Leading by 2 points with 5 minutes to go, the hosts were left to rue missed opportunities as Dandenong's late major sealed the Stingrays' win.
Our KPIs, we won in all areas, but we didn't win on the scoreboard, so we didn't get to sing our song on the weekend, but it was pleasing that the boys put the effort in.
Fletcher was philosophical about the Devils' prospects heading into the season, but with 3 wins, 3 narrow losses and just 1 thumping so far, he's confident the team is on track.
We wanted to make sure we had a game style that allowed our players to show their wares. We wanted to make sure they played with intensity. We wanted to make sure it was a learning environment. All those things are starting to come together.
The Devils now have a week off before gearing up for the next match against the Greater Western Victoria Rebels on June 1. To the TSL, and Launceston's Mitch Thorpe will miss a week for this hit on Bryce Walsh, while Tigers ball magnet Kieran Lovell has escaped with a reprimand after making contact with an umpire. And in the Women's League, Lauderdale finally has something to cheer about, with Olivia Hudson kicking the club's first goal in the top tier against Glenorchy on Sunday. But it was a lone highlight for the struggling squad as it went down by a whopping 155 points. Natalie Daniels was the best for the Magpies, booting 6 goals. Andrew McCarthy, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. The north and west had a nice drop of rain overnight. Mount Reid 41 millimetres and Quamby Bluff 21. Hobart today recorded 18 degrees. Launceston, Burnie and Devonport all 17. 19 was the high at Dunalley, Campania and Hobart Airport. King Island and Friendly Beaches reached 18. Flinders Island, Grove and Ooze 17 degrees. Strawn and Lowhead 16. Lyre-Weenie 11. Now that cloud swooped in from the northwest to basically cover the entire state today. Few mountain waves also developed in that cover. More mid to low cover extending from Victoria and back out over the Southern Ocean. Low cloud is over the southwest of WA, not much elsewhere. Tomorrow we see a large but weak high pressure ridge over the nation, a pair of troughs each side of Tasmania. The winds west to northwesterly, 10 to 20 knots, reaching 30 knots over the south but tending lighter over the upper east. Swells below 3 metres. A strong wind warning is current for southern coastal waters from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. And for Hobart tomorrow, partly cloudy and 17. Possible shower for Geeveston, 16 the top and 15 for Bothwell, partly cloudy. Launceston, a high of 18 degrees, cloud clearing. 17 the top for Devonport, mostly sunny, and a fine afternoon for Cressy and 17 degrees. Burnie tomorrow, a high of 17 and mostly sunny. A few showers for Strawn on 15 and Curry on King Island 17 degrees. And for St Helens tomorrow, cloud clearing 19 the high for Swansea. Orford partly cloudy and 18 degrees. On Thursday, showers over the north and west, but fine for the rest of the state. Showers extending statewide late morning on Friday, but clearing the east in the evening, and showers over the north and west increasing during Saturday afternoon, lighter showers elsewhere. Sunny tomorrow for Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne and Sydney, partly cloudy and 25 degrees in Brisbane, a sunny 33 for Darwin. Partly cloudy in Hobart, 14, 12 and clear in Launceston, clear in Devonport as well and 14 degrees. A little bit of wet weather expected later in the week, Joe.
All right, thank you very much for that, Murph. That's all from the team for now. Have a lovely evening and we'll see you a bit later with updates. Bye-bye.